Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back for another slime video, and it is the last video as part of the Jubilee normal segment. Again, we've split them up into their own separate videos just to see how well they will do individually versus being in one gigantic cluster of a video. So if you like this format more than the big time video with a whole bunch of timestamps, please let me know in the comments, or if you like the other one more, then let me know as well. But today we're going to be taking on Normal Battle 3, which is very, very much clearly made for Light 3.0, which makes my information about who to pick up with your selector tickets from the anniversary coins much more important, because if you don't have her, the protector ticket should go to Shuna, and the battle ticket, if you already have the hero, should go to probably Light Raphael. So looking at this stage, it is made for a 5 turn for max turn bonus score, or 6 turn if you just want to do the damage cap and not have to worry about it. But as you can see, like the top, 85k, I'm at 84.7. Like, I'm not at this point. It's nuking on turn 5 while hitting 1,000,000 damage while taking the least amount of damage possible, and I just cannot be bothered to try any harder than that. So we're just gonna take our 7th place, and I'm just gonna leave it there. But very clearly made for a Light 3.0 team. If you don't have the Light 3.0 team, or at least the mainstays on it, you're gonna have a bad time. So let's just go ahead and get started. Alright, so this is what I'm running for Normal Battle 3 for my highest score. We've got Shuna, we've got Milim, the hero, Raphael, Megamine for our orb changing and alt buffing, and then Valentine. So, Valentine is not necessary here. I mean, you do want her orb changing, right? But the light buff is cool, but we don't need her turn 8 stun resistance. We can stun this thing whenever we want. So, Megamine, you could swap her out for Water Shuna if you wanted to. You'd still be alt buff and the orange convert it. It's just that turn 1, you wouldn't have a full 6-hand of blues, because it's built for a special convert. We again have Dord as our support because we want to dodge the poison that he puts on turn 3, I think, just to help us take a little bit less damage. And then we've got Violet and Light Rimuru here to give us extra protection gauge on turn 2 alongside Megamine's own trait, so we can have a double stack of Shuna going in. So I do have to fast forward a little bit right here. And then we'll start in. So turn 1, it's built for special convert, which Megamine can definitely handle. We'll take Milim out and put her in the back because that's where she needs to be in order to maximize her orb stealing potential. And then I also took off all of the weapons on my units except for Raphael, so we don't do as much damage as maybe overkilling. I think the spider's actually quite tanky, unless you just get extremely unlucky with your non-guarding hits. But I took him off just because normally Normal Battle 3, you gotta take him off. So thankfully we got a good turn 2. We only need the 1 orb change from Lumi, which is great. So here's the double stack of Shuna. Again, because I'm running this team, I'm looking to nuke on turn 5 while still doing 1,000,000 damage and minimizing the damage taken. But you can very obviously go to turn 6 once the spider loses its defense buffs and nuke, and then you could have a much easier time hitting damage cap at 1,000,000. It's just you won't get that max turn bonus, and you will take a little bit additional damage because you had to wait one more turn and he hits you. So that is the unfortunate part, but here we've got plenty of points now, so we'll do this, and then we'll also use the orb change for Megamine. And then we're going to bring the hero in, because I want to rewind next turn. So we're going to take Megamine out. Or do we rewind here? Oh, we rewind here. Because I think, we can get the alt for Raphael. There we go. So we're looking actually really good. We're on turn 3. Turn 3.5, we can then buff with Lumi for the light buff, and then send Raphael to the back, which is kind of what you need to have happen if you're looking for a turn 5 alt, because it's kind of hard to get that many points by 5 turns, because we've got the 2 buffs from Raphael, we've got the buff from the hero, we've got the buff from Milim, we've got an 80-point buff from Lumi and Megamine, and you just don't have enough points by turn 5 unless you do this. and you use a big time one early, which has to be the Lumi buff because it's the only one that you can hold at full power in the back. So we'll go ahead and use that, and then we'll send Raphael away, and we'll be ready to nuke. I mean, technically, since I have enough points here, almost, I'm short like 2 points, actually, I think. Yeah, I think I'm short 2 points. Otherwise, I could have nuked on turn 4 and saved myself some damage there as well. So, also, can definitely happen. We also dodged the Pierce nerf, which is great because this team is definitely focused on piercing, so I don't want Raphael to get hit by that. But here, I think I'm playing around and doing math, so I think I have to fast forward a little bit. Yeah, so we're going to bring Raphael in, use the stack of Shuna, and now once we get him out of here, because we don't want to lose that light buff, so we're going to swap Raphael to the back, and then we'll go ahead. Yeah, I'm still trying to do math and trying to work it out, but unfortunately we just do not have enough points to full nuke, and if I want to hit the 1,000,000 damage cap with his defense up, we need to have every single buff, because we barely do 1,000,000. So, unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'm sitting here complaining about it in my head. We'll go ahead and swap Raphael out, and then we don't really need to do much here, but we're going to use the orb change anyway. So, and we have enough for Lumi's orb change. 6 blue will get us, one more stack of Shuna, which just means extra damage. And then we have enough points to do our full-time nuke on turn 5 and get that max turn bonus. So there's a hit. All right. There's poison. Now we're ready to go. So we can use the Megamine buff right here. She's the only one that we can swap out because we need... well, I guess we could swap Lumi out too. Oh well, doesn't matter. So we'll use all 3 of these buffs. We'll stun, we'll pierce, we'll alt resist down, we'll give the light buff, the light resistance down, the attack buff, and then we'll bring the hero in to give us the crit, and that's what we're going to need to really push us into that 1,000,000 range. And then we'll use that last stack of Shuna. And then we'll go ahead and nuke. And I think we send like 1 orb or something like that. Maybe a few. Yeah, 1 hero orb. 2,100. Not really that bad. 1.3. There we go. So definitely damage cap right there. And our ending score is 84.7. And again, the only way it would be better is if we took less damage overall. So we would dodge the poison, we would maybe guard a few hits, but that's the only real way to increase my score at this point. So that's the best team that I personally have. Let's move on to some fun teams, right? Funny teams. Alright, the second team is going to be the Konosuba team once again, making its appearance. However, because the enemy is dark, we're going to nuke it with darkness. Light darkness. That didn't make any sense, now did it? The point is that the Konosuba team does have a light unit, and we're going to attempt to nuke it, even though Darkness is a defensive-oriented character who is meant to be a tank and an orb changer. Which, means that we're good for turn 1, right? We're good for turn 1 orb change, except for the slight problem that Darkness's orb change only gives you 20% additional ult gauge. So, it's not as good as using Megamine's orb change that gives you 10% all gauges, which means that between all of our other traits, we will not get a double protector turn 2 if we just use Darkness right here. So, highly unfortunate. We're forced to go with Megamine, who I'd rather want to keep her cheaper, but if it means that we're going to be able to get double protector turn 2, that's a little bit more important, because between Aqua and Megamine and Violet, we will be able to do that. But if I didn't use Megamine's orb change and use Darkness, we would be still short of a double orb change, which is pretty bad. Also, because Darkness is very much a defensive-oriented character, her attack stat is already fairly low. So, also, not working in her favor is that she is physical, while the rest of the team is magic, which doesn't really matter that much, except the spider takes more damage against magic units. So, we're again nerfing ourselves there. We already do less damage because we have a lower attack stat, and now we're going to do less damage on top of that because we're not hitting it with the right typing. So, or type of attack, I guess, more so than anything else. And also because no one else on this team is light, we're not actually getting weakness damage score from these normal orbs unless it's a darkness orb, who, unless it's a 200 or a 150% orb, has a chance to miss. So I wanted to use a team that had a light unit on it that's stacked just to see how it would go, and here we are. It's not great. I tell you that right now. It's not great. We don't hit damage cap, but it is a team that does stack, that does have a light unit attached to it. So we have Megumin, we have Cosmo, we have Aqua, obviously here because of the buffs. We've also brought the new Hinata, in case you have the Konosuba team plus Hinata, because Hinata will give us that 50% light buff for cheap, which can help Darkness out alongside the ult damage and the pierce and the attack and the defense down and all that. So, also, we don't need an EX ult. Now, for this team, I really don't recommend nuking on turn 5, because you already don't do a lot of damage anyways. Just wait till turn 6 and try and hit as hard as physically possible. We've also put the taunt up for funsy onesies. There's no really other reason why, but to take less damage on Darkness. The spider does AoEs a lot, so the taunt doesn't mean anything. He hits someone occasionally, singular, but meh, right? Meh. But yeah, so you could definitely swap out Darkness for Raphael if you wanted, or Light Lumi, or Bride Shion, or anyone who's a light character, physical or magic, doesn't matter. We have a lot of buffs that would be going on them, so you could make do with anyone on this team, quite honestly. Whether or not that gets you to 1,000,000 points, I don't know, but it'd probably be better than Darkness. So, here we are, turn 5. His defenses are about to go away. We could nuke here if we wanted to, but I don't really want to. So we're just going to orb change, and we're going to nuke on turn 6 when his defense is gone. And then you can see the pretty abysmal number that Darkness does, but at least it's a light nuke, and it'll get you some kind of score. But like right here, this entire hand, even though we're doing less damage, it's not weakness damage, so it's not counting towards our damage done score in general, because it counts weakness damage. So, oh well. Now we're ready to go. We have 340 points. Let's use the alt buff, and then we'll bring Darkness in for Megumin. And then we'll use the Cosmo and Hinata buff, and then we'll use the Aqua buff as well. And then we'll be ready to go. And the 2 extra stacks of Rebrew, which will help. They will help, definitely. There's the all-element buff, so there's a light buff somewhere in there. It just doesn't show because we can't have that many buffs showing at once. So, Megumin is done. Megmaru, I guess is what we're calling him. Megmaru, double buff right there, so another 40% to the ult damage. And now the Pierce, and now the Cosmo buff. And now we're ready to go. I mean, Darkness has a lot of buffs on her. She has a lot of buffs. She does how much damage? 440. You know, for being a defensive character, 440 is respectable. She's definitely not a mainline nuker, or even like a sub-DPS. She's just there for an orb change into tank and to be Darkness, and because she's funny. But 440, you could do a lot worse. So 53k right here. Definitely, if you have a different nuker that is more DPS oriented, but you have the Konosuba team, just throw them on. Call it good. They can all get the buff, so, and you'll probably score a little bit higher. But that is the second team. Let's move on to the ultra funny team now. Alright, you don't have a stacking team. You've only played for a month or so, and you came in during the Vengeance meta. And like I've been saying ever since it came out, the Vengeance team will kill anything, given enough time. Well, the same rings true here. The Vengeance team will kill this spider. It will not get you a good score, but it certainly will kill this spider. So we've got Belzard, we've got Aaron for greens, we've got Isis for greens, we've got Yom for the Vengeance, we've got Raphael for more Vengeance, we've brought free-to-play Soka from the Light 3.0 team to be our turn 1 orb changer for a full hand of blues. That will give us Belzard, turn 2, and it'll be pretty much there for the entire time now. And then we're just going to try and stack as much Vengeance on, even though Vengeance doesn't count towards weakness damage. So, like I said, you use what you got. And if you've only been playing for a month and the Vengeance team is all you have, well, then you got to use it. You could use Vengeance for all these normal battles if you really felt like it, because it's all you have. But here we are. We're gonna do funny things with Vengeance. Now, I could have brought Shuna and Veldora on here as well, but since the Vengeance doesn't count towards our score realistically, only attacks from Yom and Soko would, it's not really that necessary. We just want to kill the spider on turn 5, which we most definitely will. So, turn 1, make sure to send Yom last so he gets the quote-unquote most damage possible. We would want to leave Sokka up front just to take less damage and to do more, but meh. So here, not a great hand. The game continually just craps on me at all points in time. So I think we'll just send 3 oranges and use Vengeance and call it good. I think is what we actually end up doing after I think about it a little bit. Yeah, okay, so there we go. We're just going to run it. We're going to get the oranges out of the way and hopefully get a good hand next turn. We do have enough points to double Vengeance, though, with the Yom and Raphael. I decide not to, though, because I want to have points left over to Orb Change next turn. So here, things work out fairly well. So we'll use the Isis buff and the Orb Change here, or just the Orb Change. No, okay, there we go. And then I think we use 1 stack of Vengeance, or do I bring in Aaron and use the Orb Changes? Let's find out. You and me together. We use the Orb Change, okay. So, Aaron doesn't have the Vengeance on, but we have another stack of Vengeance to use, so now pretty much everyone has the Vengeance on, so no matter who I swap out, they're going to have it. So now, we have 100 points, we've reset, we have another stack of Velzard, not that it really matters, because he's only going to live for 2 more turns. And now we can put as much Vengeance on as physically possible. This is an AoE, so there's 3 stacks right there, so we're up to 4. Awesome. And then now we'll just start stacking with Yom and and Raphael. We'll go ahead and give ourselves the element resistance for funsies so we can take quote-unquote less damage. Not that it really matters here. And yeah, then we'll use the Orb Change from Yom, get 4 greens. We'll send the ult because Raphael's definitely not killing this thing. And we get max points again. And then we move on to turn 5. The end of turn 5 is when Vengeance starts hitting, and it does bypass the defense. Not that it really matters again, because it doesn't actually do anything for us. As far as score is concerned, we super guard there, and now we just stack 2 more on. We'll use Veldard one more time just to lower the cost. We didn't need to. Everyone still had it. We had enough points to use both the Vengeance stacks right here. So we're going to be up to 20 stacks after. I think this is an AoE hit. And yeah. And there we go. So 20 stacks, and then 89.5, and he's dead. But we still get an S rank out of this, which is hilarious. Oh, I ended it too early. Whoops-a-daisies. We do still get an S rank out of that score. I can't show it because I cut way too early. But, I mean, if the only team you have is Vengeance, then you might as well just use Vengeance and call it good, right? So there are 3 alternate teams, the one good team that I've used, and then the Konosuba team, which you can sub out Darkness for anyone that's light, and then the Vengeance team in case that's the only team you have to work with. But that's it for me, guys. We're done with the normal battle for Jubilees. Next up will be the boss battles. We'll also do those individually, so Boss Battle 1 and Boss Battle 2. Again, let me know if you like this format more than the really, really long video with a bunch of timestamps. It helps me, determine how I'm going to make videos going forward. But that's it from me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.